Thank you very much for having me here. About 10 years ago, when I started working with Professor Larson, my first project was focused on Andorra, and I was working on predicting purchase patterns in Andorra based on the data. Well, yesterday, for the very first time, I found those maps and I went for a walk where my algorithm predicted the purchases. So it was not augmented reality, but it was reality augmented after 10 years. Our university is based in downtown Toronto. It's a very urban environment. Toronto is one of the largest cities in North America, and I'm hoping that you all get an opportunity to visit us. This is a set of photos from our lab. It is now the largest startup/innovation incubator in Canada. It is in downtown Toronto, and it's very much focused on interdisciplinary research, bringing students from creativity, design, urban informatics, medical sciences, all in one location to be able to innovate. We also focus on a lot of curricular activities, so we have super course programs that bring students, industry, startups all together. So within a semester, they have the ability to move things from ideation to impact. So that has really helped us to not just do research, but also understand the impact of research in the real world. About 10 years ago, when I started my academic work, a lot of our focus was on digital informatics. We launched a major project for the Paris Metro Authority in France. And back then, things were very different, because if we knew the requirements of the project using digital capabilities, we could use those requirements and build it. But now, our relationship with data is fundamentally changing. Our relationship with data, our relationship with AI, and that is basically transforming our research both at Toronto Metropolitan University and also at MIT. We are shifting from models that we use to centralize data, use that for personalization purposes, and deliver and push information to users. Now that personalization is shifting towards participation and collaboration. We want to co-create with machines. We want to be involved to design these experiences, whether for cities or for any other sector that you can imagine. So a lot of our work in our group is about understanding those data relationships and building systems accordingly. A lot of our focus early days were on human-computer interaction, essentially the human versus the machine, and now we are working on human-AI systems, moving AI to the background, allowing AI to help us to communicate and collaborate more effectively together. And as a result, I would like to show you some of our newest works at our group at the Media Lab, and we call it Perspective-Aware AI. That's a fundamentally different paradigm compared to the type of AI we use today, and it's a type of an AI that allows us to see the world through each other's lenses. Over the past 5 years, we have built the algorithmics and the capabilities allowing us to do that. And I want to show you some examples in terms of how our team is applying that to their respective sectors. We are working on these multimodal systems using images, CAD drawings, strings, text, code. We are creating those graphs called chronicles. So a lot of our focus are on these reason-ready AI, so that not just we use data, but we will be able to reason with AI. And that's a subset of machine learning that we refer to it as structural learning. So we understand behavioral patterns, we understand movement patterns, we are intersecting the semantic computing world with the AI world to be able to understand situation and context in a city, and we develop these graphs so we can use that to make AI more and more contextual. So let me show you some examples. We created a language in our team called iGenerate. Perhaps you have all used Twitter, hashtags, handles, we know how to use that. So now we have a syntax called iGenerate, curly brackets, the model that you want to fine-tune, and then you apply that to your sector. So this is a use case in which 2 of my master's students used for navigating New York. So I want to say I want to generate a lens to navigate New York. I will get access to trusted chronicles. These are the people that I trust in my network. I will form and fine-tune an LLM based on the person's know-how. And then when I go to New York, I don't need to rely on a centralized recommendation system like TripAdvisor or Google Places. I can basically see the city through the lens of someone else. So we have done this in Paris, we have done this in New York, and we have interconnected these to open data platforms. So for example, in open banking, which Europe is now a leader, you can basically share transactions with each other using a blockchain technology, and that will be able to help you to view and walk through a city through the lens of others. I'm also very interested in the future of architecture. So if you look at on the left-hand side, that's the picture of our startup office. It's the real video being captured. We have created a tool now called the Open Dome. We don't want to call it a metaverse. It's a dome connected to open data. And using techniques such as Gaussian splatting and LiDAR, we can now create a digital twin of that space within less than half an hour. So that technology is becoming more and more relevant. But up until now, these are all Cartesian coordinates. Everyone will see the same thing. What we have done now is that we have mapped the knowledge base of everyone in this office based on their permission. And now, whether you use a headset or a browser or a phone, you can basically navigate the office and see the office through the lens of others. So for example, I want to generate a lens to view the office, but I want to see it through the lens of a CEO. I want to see it through the lens of an intern. So this way, our paper, which is going to be published in about 3 months, it's basically bringing people together to understand each other better. So with remote work and work from home becoming more and more popular, technologies like these allows you to really provide that contextual spatial environments to the same audience. We just got a major grant in the US, which is also allowing us to think about this, about the future of work. The chart on the left-hand side is probably very familiar to you. Project comes in, people based on the skill sets available, budget and calendar will get together and do the work. Now in this research, we are demonstrating that each of us in an office or in a company will be represented by a knowledge graph. Our knowledge graphs will now come together to perform the first part of that task, but our job will now be polishing and making that project more innovative. And this is proving, as part of our research, that AI is not here to replace us, but is here to augment us, allowing us to go about our daily life and learn and add to our chronicles while protecting our data with privacy. One thing we love about it in the Media Lab is that we built fundamental technologies that is applicable to almost any vertical that you can imagine. We applied it into space. That's a timely topic. As leisure travel in space is becoming more and more pervasive, space travelers can now go through that spacecraft and view it through each other's lenses, because you can imagine different culture will be confined for relatively a long time, and that has psychological impact. So with this, architects of that space can design the space in a way that is more attuned to their needs. We have done it for airlines, we have done it for doctors, that if 2 doctors are looking at the same medical dossier, you can wear 2 doctors on the same medical records and see different information, allowing you to make better decisions. I'm going to skip some of these. A lot of the things that I have shown you up until now are screen AI, using data, using decentralization, using modeling to generate information on a 2-dimensional screens. We are also applying that in 3 or 4 dimensions. So this is an example. That's my younger daughter, Sierra. We have now incorporated these models into these humanoid robots. So as kids are interacting with these agents, the robot will become more and more tuned based on the behavioral pattern of the kid, and it's a multimodal system. So parents can also incorporate these value systems as nodes into that knowledge graph. The reason I show you this is that this is the future of what we call human AI agents. Our knowledge base will find its way into these AI systems and making them less biased and more transparent in terms of how we want to use it. That's a big focus of our work. For some of you from Germany, you may know this. This was a big documentary on Deutsche Welle, built by a famous documentary maker, Ingolf Bauer. So he came to our lab. We used our Chronicle builders to create his knowledge base. And part of the documentary called My Avatar and Me, basically the conversation was with me and the avatar to demonstrate that our knowledge base can be encapsulated. The reason I show you these is that these are the future agents that we can talk about even when you think about customer services, city services, incorporating our knowledge base or even a company's knowledge base, not just behind a string-based chatbot, but basically on avatars that are fully time-stamped and vetted before you're using them. We are building this in our lab so we can capture emotions and behaviors. So now we have the ability to get patent information, innovation information, videos, audios. You can incorporate all of that into these graphs, and then you can create these interactions with them. So I'm going to show you a quick example. This, you can prompt an agent with a question. So imagine that you are asking the same question from, okay, didn't work. Hopefully this time works. Okay, it says my video does not play. But anyway, when you ask the question, you can see that the avatar actually talks. But the most important part is that dashboard down there, because these AIs are very prone to biases and wrong information. As you're interacting with that avatar, you can see that the confidence levels on those answers are changing. So you can trust it or not, but we are measuring things such as provenance of the data, integrity of the data, facts of the data as you're conversing with them. So my videos don't work. We are now building this also for the Media Lab. So hopefully next time you visit us, you can actually come to the lab and look at the lab through the lens of different professors. So their research, their papers, their work are all being encapsulated. So you can now view a particular project through the lens of different people. The problems we see with these systems, and you heard it in some of the previous talks, is that we did a major study that when you look at some of the current models for images, for videos, they are very good in detecting objects, but they are extremely poor in understanding people. So if you look at some of our ground truth and data, they are all performing below 50%. So a lot of our work in our group is to understand empathy, psychology, behavioral patterns, because the models currently are really missing those. And applying that for citizens and bringing that to more transparent environments really require major innovation. I'm going to skip that. This was another work that we did with Deepak Chopra, who is applying this for the future of immortality. But I'm running out of time, but I want to highlight a few things. In all of our research, what we are realizing is that we have reached a level of computational maturity that we can actually recreate a lot of these things, digital twins of cities, digital twins of us. But the problem is not the technology. The problem is really understanding people, us, context, behavior, biases, and all of that. So recently, my team and I, we just got another major grant in Canada to really study other domains. We talked a lot about cross-disciplinary and interdisciplinary work. So we are now spending time with people who study even things like death, empathy, emotions, and we are fine-tuning a lot of our models to incorporate those human elements in those. These are people who have no idea about technology, but the more we do our research, we realize, well, that's the problem. Those information are not available in the systems we are creating. In addition to that, we are building these city hubs in collaboration with Professor Larson's group to make sure that cities can share data. We are doing a lot of federated learning to be able to allowing communities to learn from each other. So understanding causalities and behaviors and correlations. And we have applied it not just to cities. So this is in Toronto. 3 communities are using this data to drive healthier behavior like recycling and others. But we are now also seeing how we can bring things like tax authorities to incentivize communities if they are performing better than others. This is an agent-based model. that we built. Again, the great thing about our team is that we learned a lot from our team in Boston, doing this in Kendall Square, doing it in Andorra. This is basically in collaboration with the bank that is bringing credit card and debit card transaction alongside movement data, and we are building a pathway to purchase modeling for cities, allowing banks to create new opportunities for them. This is another one that we just got. About a year ago, we got a $9.2 million grant to really study supply chains in Canada because the country really got disrupted, especially post-COVID. So now we are using AI tools to figure out what may go wrong in a supply chain and also presenting those in 3D. The last thing I say, just 3 days ago, Kent and I were at the Media Lab. We announced a program called Sapien. Sapien with an AI in between, not with A. So this is about a human AI systems coming together. And the whole point of Sapien is to really look at all of these technology elements with a very new perspectives, especially when the human is a key component of that. So this is a cross collaboration between my immediate group at MIT Media Lab, Human Dynamics, and also City Science. So if you're interested in this and you're thinking about collaborating in these areas for your cities, please talk to us. I think I have run out of time, but we also have frameworks to really help cities to understand pillars of AI adoption for the cities. How do you bring education? How do you bring data ecologies? How do you bring design? So if you're interested, please come and talk to us. So with that, thank you very much.